Ladies and gentlemen.
What?
What? Ladies and gentlemen, the much non-anticipated, not long awaited, doing it however we want to do it, Jack It Off podcast, episode 42. My God, I have a beard growing in. I feel like I've gone through a time portal. I'm like Rip Van Winkle or Jesus. I just crawled out of the cave.
I just woke up.
I got a fucking 5 o'clock shadow that went all the way to 10 o'clock.
I think Jesus had the beard before he went to the cave, though.
Jesus could grow a beard like that.
So it wasn't a cave.
He'll talk to daddy and that beard fucking pops out instantly.
Wouldn't it be technically a crypt if it was his burial ground?
That's true. Although, you know, what are we talking about? We're talking about a resurrection story. Look at this. This is very much a resurrection story. Right here.
The Jesus
We're doing it
of
right
podcasts.
Now. The Jesus of podcasts.
That's your title right there.
That. How many minutes are we in? Not even.
We don't want to just be done.
Yeah, I mean,
2.
There's nothing more to say. Nothing much has really happened except, you know, a lot. The last time we spoke to one another, we were talking about my botched honeymoon, and since then, it might be noticeable that I'm sitting in a different room, in a higher quality.
It's about the size of the other room that you were sitting in, except there's other rooms attached to that room.
What?
That's not the only room.
God, I can't even fathom of it. Still, that I could walk out of this room into another room where I could watch TV separate from what I'm doing right now. What an incredible feat of space that we have now. And this room in particular probably sounds pretty echoey. It's got a lot of shit in it, which cuts down on a little bit of the echo, but hopefully as we go through,
put some heads on those walls, baby.
I'm gonna get some of those typical fucking Twitch streamer acoustic panels that are like purple and black that everybody just puts all over the walls and pretends like that does something. I don't know. I don't know anything about dampening sound.
You got a closet behind you. Just fill it with crates and put some lights in there and just record in the closet.
It wouldn't be that bad if I could find something that would fit in there that could like support like my setup. Like if I could just cram it all in there so that I wouldn't set myself on fire.
Just put the webcam on a tripod, point it at your
and
face,
get a
and
30-foot USB
or a stick mic. Sorry,
I'll get it all set up out here, and then I'll just run in there with a 50-foot fucking USB cable, just put it up on a tripod, and just sit there in the dark. Put a bunch of fill lights on me. Yeah, that's true. I could sit. I'm sure I could sit. Not in this chair. It'd have to be a different chair. I'd have to put a folding chair.
Plastic chair. Like you're going to elementary school band show.
Like the chairs at the wedding.
Yeah. Like
those rainbow injection molded chairs that they put out at in the Cafe Gymatorium. My God, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to continue off where we were. I'll say that after the honeymoon, we went full throttle is best way to put it. To quote Tom Segura. I don't know if you've seen that. Good. Did I show you? Good morning, Julia.
Yeah.
I've been pissing Becky off with it for about the past 2 weeks. So good morning, Julia.
Just 2 weeks? Because you showed it to me about a month ago.
Yeah, but it kind of faded out, and then it came back because they do on that podcast. They fucking like.
That's why it
kind of ebbs and flows a little bit.
That's why it's pissing her off again because she thought it was gone.
She thought it was over.
Yeah, thank God. I braved that storm. I know there's going to be another storm coming. It's always a hurricane.
The storms keep fucking coming. But where was I? Fuck. Got to get back into the groove of this shit.
Full throttle. Yeah. Well,
full throttle. So we were going full throttle when we got back because what I had decided was I needed a change. I needed somewhere else to be. So we
Like a change
decided
of
to
diaper?
move. What?
I don't know. You said you needed a change, like a change of diaper?
It felt like a diaper change. It was just as shitty. Haha, what's up?
Got it.
Mm. So I contemplated what we were gonna do, and I had said to myself, I don't want to be in this apartment. Uh, and I set the goal by the first of the year, I won't be in this apartment. So that's what we did. Uh, I had pretty much decided that the best course of action was to try to find a place that was a little bit more bourgeois pedestrian, as it were. So basically, my goal was I want snow removal that actually works. That where they actually work is probably the more apt way of putting it. I want uh like I mean obviously more space. I want a kitchen where I can like walk around. That'd be nice. That would be superb. Um
Wait, you don't
and
want your kitchen to be in a hallway that connects the bathroom to the living room? So when you're
nope,
trying to make
no
something,
more. No more is that my life. I now have a kitchen that some would consider gigantic. I'm actually extremely excited about this kitchen. And I'm extremely excited about the space that I'm in right now because Becky and I can cohabit it as we see fit. Her art stuff is over here. I'm over here. Um, we're all living in harmony. I haven't really had a chance to get much use out of this room as of yet because honestly, we've been going absolutely fucking bonkers with shit. Um, you know, things happen, life happens, the hardships, the ups and downs, the highs and lows. Uh, and here we are now. We're in the present. We're in the new apartment. We did a hell of a move. I can fucking tell you that. That was something else. Um, the thing of it is, when you live in a small apartment, you kind of don't realize how much shit you've packed into that small apartment. Until you go to a big apartment
and it
and you
fills it
think
out
to
nicely.
yourself, it fills it out. Love. I mean, look, I've had to buy two pieces of flat pack furniture thus far, maybe with one or two more furniture purchases. But in this room, the room that I'm in, it's filled with shit to the ceiling. Um, and there's much more places to put it, but it's going to have to be organized. And I have to sell a lot of shit too. I have so much bullshit. You just don't realize it.
Oh, I
You
realize it.
you unpack the bottom of that bed, underneath that bed. You unpack like that closet that you forgot about, like the top of the closet where you forgot where that one thing was, and then suddenly you're up to your neck in forgotten dreams, ultimately linked to equipment purchases. That's how it always goes. Uh, I'm looking at a drum pad right here. I'm looking at my guitar amp. I'm looking at an old.
Wait, your new drum pad?
No, not the new drum pad,
Oh,
not the
okay.
machine.
So you think about selling your machine already? You
No,
literally
no,
just bought
no,
it.
no. That shit ain't gonna get sold. But well, no. The thing is too, though. Here's the thing. Here's the theory of this. Hopefully, to the right of me right now is like kind of like a larger space. Not larger, but it's sort of like a cubby, like a nook type of thing,
Yep.
like right next to my desk. I'm thinking that I'm gonna do like an extension. So
Okay.
I'm thinking like over here I want to have like kind of a double decker like producer desk style thing, but a short one, like a stubby producer desk.
Like half of mine.
Yeah. One that's just got like a few different levels on it that maybe I could put like a spare monitor and then just have my laptop be able to be like sort of docked in so that I could sort of just put my laptop down, get into Logic, plug in my machine, plug in the keyboard or whatever, and I can have all of that rolling at the same time. and then also maybe like just to like the sample pad, I'll get up on one of those the stands, those drum stands, get that rolling, get it plugged in, and get everything sort of in somehow, just so that I can feel like I have some sort of semblance of if I were to go over there and start trying to do something, there's not a barrier to entry.
You can hit a
That's like the
button.
biggest fucking thing to me is the barrier to entry. My time is so fucking limited sometimes that it feels like if I can't just sit down and get the fuck into it, then I'm not going to do it. So hopefully that'll be the end game of all of this.
The
Avengers
Avengers
Endgame
Endgame.
out next year. Yeah. Hopefully the Avengers Endgame for this will be that
They stop making those movies.
they stop. Yeah. So look, I feel like this one's gonna be more of like not necessarily any fucking massive colloquiums about what's going on. I feel like I wanted to just have a conversation about what's happening in the world right now. There's so much good shit going on. I mean, we got big announcements, Dylan. We got big announcements on games and shit that we got to talk about.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that. Okay. Well,
I mean, look, if you want to.
What I actually do want from you, what is the Epic Games hackery that happened to you? I need that story.
Okay. So that's really good. That's actually that's one of the highlights of the whole thing, of the past couple weeks. So to recount it as plainly as I can, actually, it'll probably help me to open up my Gmail because that's going to be a major source of my talking points during the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
So let me, maybe more than that.
So you get anything out in 10 minutes. A goddamn miracle.
So let me just sort of give it a little bit of a background. So what happened to my account was on the 25th around Thanksgiving when I was home with you doing the telethon. I didn't really get any sort of indication that this was happening until I logged into my Gmail for something else.
Yeah, you had texted me Sunday night, so it was after you left.
Yep. So the first email in this chain was I created a ticket with Epic Games because it allegedly said, under my account, which I noticed it on my PayPal, that I had been charged for like 3 separate transactions. Mm-hmm. But it was my PayPal, which had me thinking like, did I have some sort of reoccurring charge that I didn't authorize on my account or something?
Something was like holding, like a pending charge that just went through somehow.
I didn't really know what it was because it just says PayPal paid or whatever it is.
Yeah.
One of them was $4.99. One of them was $29.99, and then the fucking last one was $99.99.
Okay, so that was the skin pack.
So I'll tell you
the skin
what it
pack with
was.
I can tell you exactly what it is.
Go for it.
So the five, what'd you say, $4.99, right?
$4.99.
That was the skin with the V-Bucks, like the 600 V-Bucks.
Summit Striker was that one.
The Summit Striker skin, and you get the 600 V-Bucks. Then the $9.99 was $29.99 is the second V-Bucks that you could buy, because you get $9.99, $29.99, and $99.99. So
what they called the second one was the Deep Freeze bundle.
Oh, okay. So that's,
which I think was probably a combo of V-Bucks plus another skin.
Yes, that's the okay. So I forgot that was up in the store. That's the pack that, when you buy the Fortnite bundles.
Yeah.
For Switch and Xbox. They come with the deep freeze bundle, which is it comes with the deep freeze.
I saw that in store displays.
Yeah, that's that's not the combo pack. That's like an actual thing. You can go in the store and you could buy a copy of Fortnite, and it's basically a CD key with the deep freeze skin, and I think it's like 1,000 V-Bucks or something.
And then the 99.99, of course,
Is
is
the big boy,
10,000 V-Bucks.
the big boy.
So here's where I was extremely perplexed, because then it started to occur to me once I got into my Epic account and I actually saw what the names of the purchases were, and that they were also on my account, started to sort of wear on me. I was like, what the hell is happening? I didn't authorize these purchases. So I put in the ticket and I said somehow I was charged for these three. I named what they are. I said I did not authorize this purchase. And I've made no attempt to use or redeem these products on my account. Please refund this purchase as soon as possible. Thank you. What I had thought was that if I hadn't activated any of these things and I hadn't even opened up a fucking Fortnite in forever,
Yeah,
that it would
spent
be.
any V-Bucks, like,
I've literally spent V-Bucks twice on my own money
yeah.
in the entire time that I've been playing. And that was literally months ago, usually at the start of a season. So anyway, I sent them that. And then here's what I got back. I'll paraphrase the first part of it, and then I'll sort of give you the idea of why this was absolutely out of control. Thank you for copying. Thank you for contacting Epic Games support. My name is Andreas, and I'll be San Andreas, and I'll be more than happy to provide any assistance you need today. Since you had unauthorized purchases on your account, it seems as though the account has been compromised.
Sure.
Okay. He said in a very colloquial thing, he said, as I've been in a similar situation in the past when my email account got compromised, I know how frustrating it can be to deal with. Do not worry, though. I'm certain that with my help and following the necessary steps, we'll be able to resolve your issue. Now, I want to draw your attention to the phrase that would become the bane of my existence for the next 3 days, following the necessary steps. So, he recommends that I make sure my email account is safe, directs me to a article on Epic Games on how to protect your Fortnite account. Yeah. And then this is where it gets really juicy. He said, after reading those articles and making sure that your email is all set, I'd like you to verify that you indeed own your account. In order to do so, you'll have to provide me with some details. First, before I get into the details, let me just say this. I'm fine ultimately with making sure that somebody that I in fact own my own account. I work in a company that deals with data, a lot of sensitive information, tons of it, more sensitive ultimately than anybody's ever put in an Epic account. And our verification process is often very simple. Give me the last 4 digits of your social, your last name, and your date of birth. That's what we need in order to verify that it's you. So, with that in mind, here are the details that Andreas was looking for when he wanted to figure out that the account that I submitted this ticket was from was my account. Just keep that in mind. First one, comes out swinging. Your public IP addresses, IPv4, which you can find by searching what is my IP address in your internet browser. I know I know that. Okay, I know how to get my own fucking IP address. That makes sense. Whatever. Date when you created your Epic Games account. An invoice ID for any Epic Games purchase you made on the account, which is fine. That's findable too.
Yeah.
Locations, city, state / province where you made purchases on the account. The original display name for the account. The last 4 digits of the first payment card used on the account. Date of your last login. Names of any PlayStation, Switch, Twitch, or Xbox accounts connected to your Epic Games account and the dates when they were connected. Okay. Then he said, I'd also like to know if you've enabled the 2-factor authentication method on your account. Now, here's what I want to start with. Okay. I've worked in tech for my job and in my life, and I'm massively familiar with how to do anything in terms of like what he said here, like, IP addresses or, any of this bullshit that somebody would really need to know. But here's the point that I want to make before I say what happened after this is that if a kid, the main demographic of who plays Fortnite, right? 13, you know what I mean? Like 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, like 12 to 15, maybe up to 18. They don't have their own fixed income. And ultimately, the people that are financing these kids' requests on something like Fortnite are their parents. And most of the time, a parent is going to be less savvy when it comes to online purchasing of anything. So if this happens,
I'm sure you could keep emailing Andreas there for like help on how to find, or maybe
I did. Well, here's the problem.
I mean, a lot of that stuff is probably easy to find just by scraping your emails.
That's the thing is that in my Gmail, like I delete shit. It's sometimes things aren't always archived or whatever. I think what I really want to make clear on this is that I know I'm not a dummy. Yeah. And I know that most of the time, if somebody asks me to do this gigantic litany of shit in order to refund this kind of money, I can figure out how to do it. But the thing is that I have a fucking job and I have a life, and so do other people. And ultimately, the way that the rest of this came off made it seem as though, and I started being a real dick to him, to be honest with you, because I told him that I can give you some of these things. I can't, if you're expecting me to give you all of this shit and not have to really fucking rack my brain to remember certain features of this, and you can't fill in the gaps, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a level of plausible deniability here.
I mean, you know, when these purchases were made, they can easily see if they need your state and IP address for
I could give them that
for like purchases you actually made, like, and like all that stuff. Like, when was that last purchase you actually made? If they can match the last purchase to that and see that those new purchases aren't from that IP address or that area, like, that's got to be enough. But at the same time, you don't know how many people.
I mean, the thing is that if somebody's trying to scam this is the other point I forgot to make. If somebody's trying to scam this process, right? If they're trying to do this, the common sense method of doing something like this would be, I'm going to try to get this person's information off of his Epic Games account so that I can make purchases on my own Epic Games account, right? He's trying to rob my personal information.
Either rob your personal information or rob your account completely so that they just change the name on it and like use your credit card.
They're going to impersonate me. But the thing is, this person was so fucking stupid, neither of those things happened. They bought me
V-Bucks.
10,000 fucking V-Bucks with my own money. And then they just left it there and panicked and pieced the fuck. I don't know what they did. But this is why I found it really absurd. Because if this guy assumed that I was trying to game the system in some way, ultimately what he has the power to do in his portal or whatever system that he happens to be using in here, to take away what I've purchased. I'm not trying to pull a fast one and like really quickly like cash it in and then get me refunded.
I wonder if they don't have the ability to.
He might not. I don't know. But here's where I said, I wanted to make a point about why some of this to the most casual user seems a little far-fetched and a little fucking absurd. Which I don't know if I went a little bit too far, but I mean, that's a big fucking list of shit if I've ever seen it in my life. To get money back, your own money. I said, Andreas, while I certainly understand the need to keep accounts secure, this sounds a little bit ludicrous to you, doesn't it? I work for a data company that handles significant amounts of sensitive customer information on a daily basis. And if we were to ask any one of our customers to have to furnish this much data to verify that it's them, we would be out of business. The fact that something like this could happen to someone half my age or even worse on a parent's account is absolutely a nightmare. We have jobs and lives, and if I have to sit here and type out a doctoral thesis about my own account activity to refund very obviously fraudulent purchases refunded, the Epic business model is obviously flawed. Why is it that I have to furnish this information when the ticket was generated from my own account? Who would try to buy these items with my own money and then leave them on my own account, then file a ticket asking for them to be refunded? I cannot remember the last time I played a round of Fortnite, let alone logged into my account. Here is what I know offhand. PayPal is the only payment method linked to my account. My email is brent.pickard@gmail.com. The fucking email, I didn't say this, but the fucking email that I'm sending this to you on. The locations that I played the game are Greenfield Center, New York, and Boston Lake, New York. I don't have any connected accounts. My display name was originally bpickard23. The earliest purchase I actually made was on 5/5/18. That's all information that's publicly available. To try to make someone recall when they first started an account and what their IP addresses are off the charts, especially considering your user base. If the above information is not sufficient to process a refund to my PayPal, I'll request the contact information of your supervisor. That's what I said. And because I felt at the time that I got this in the morning before I went to work. And it's like, the longer that this type, like, I'm not going to fucking go into my room and try to do, what's my IP? Okay, cool. I don't know the one that was at my other house because I just fucking moved. Like, there's a lot of scenarios where that information wouldn't be available.
It wouldn't even be the same.
It won't be the same IP address. And also, there's such thing as dynamic IP addresses that change. Even
VPNs, like
tons of shit. Absolutely. So he said, I can see your point, but I'm sure that since the nature of your job is similar,
yeah,
you can understand the need for extra security when there are real money transactions involved. Well, my company processes $800 million worth of real cash money every single year. So I said, in any case, once you provide me with the rest of the account details, I'll be more than happy to further investigate and refund any fraudulent purchases. Then he gets a little bit, what do you call it? Condescending. Regarding your public IP, it's not so hard to find it, and you can check a site like whatismyipaddress.com for it. IPv4 is the one we need. Yeah, I know, jackass. As for the account creation date, you can always check for the confirmation email we sent you when you created your account. If you do not have it anymore, please try to remember when you created your account and give me an approximate date. Please try to remember. Okay, it was like March. So also please inform me if you enabled two-factor authentication. I already did that. Then I got real pissed off because of the fucking IP address thing. So I said, this has got to be so much fun to do to people, isn't it?
Jesus Christ.
For your records, I work for a payment processing company. We process $1 billion in payments a year, which is close. It is close to $1 billion. Here's how our verification works. Can I get the last 4 digits of your social, last name, and date of birth? At this point, I'm going to be just fine with my massive amount of V-Bucks. And I am sure that Epic is going to be fine with its massive amount of players. Too big to fail is an understatement, of course, at this point. My real wonder of the whole thing is what happens when a parent sets up an account for their kid to play Fortnite. The game all of their friends are playing. And then their account gets compromised. And suddenly, mom or dad is saddled with hundreds of dollars worth of purchases. Is it going to be super easy for tech-illiterate mom or dad to get their grocery money back? Hopefully they aren't living paycheck to paycheck. Going to have to figure out what an IP address is real quick, not to mention how to search their email trash. We're all good. It's payday anyway. Let's put this behind us and have a lovely weekend. Thank you. Here's Andreas again. Thank you for your response. I can understand some of your concerns, but I do not think our verification method is especially confusing. I've faced cases like the one you described, and we always manage to sort it out in the end. After all, that's what I'm here for, to provide assistance to anyone who may need it. So while you seem like a tech-savvy person to me, If you need further help to find your IP address or remember your account creation date, I'll be, of course, happy to oblige. But just leaving things as they are and your account compromised is something that I would strongly advise against. So please provide me with your IP address and your account creation date, and believe me, I'll be happier than you will be to sort everything out. I'll be waiting for your reply.
They probably are not allowed to just leave a case like that. Like, the only thing is if you don't reply, they have to say something.
So I said, I really do not know when I created an account, and I do not know who would know that off of hand. My best guess would be shortly after or shortly before I made my first purchase. But of course, you know that, given you have those details available to you. My current IP is, and I gave him my current IP for where I am now. And I said, but I recently moved, so that wouldn't be the original IP that we're talking about. And I said, I'm sure it's been made clear by my previous comments, but this has been the most fruitless customer service interaction I've ever experienced from a company. Someone shouldn't have to say this feels like a lot when it comes to getting money back. Steam, PayPal, and eBay have real purchase protections on their accounts and have made refunds very easy for me and countless others in the past. And then he comes back with,
just done it through PayPal at that point.
well, that was the thing, but they'll ban you. That was the thing. I was talking to my buddy at work. He's like, I've had this happen to me before. It wasn't on Epic Games, and they might not. I don't know. But he's like, I've disputed a fraudulent purchase on like some, I don't know, maybe it was Blizzard, but he disputed it on PayPal, and they fucking locked him out of his account until they called him. But anyway, so, and then of course, after that particular one, he said, hey, Brent, I have good news. Thanks to the information you provided, I was able to verify your ownership of the account and go ahead and sort everything out. So I refunded the unauthorized transactions and in general reverted any unwanted charges. So there we go.
Still got the V-Bucks, or did they take them away?
I didn't even go in and look.
Oh, man. I wonder if you got the skins still. Like, I don't know how they would take those away from you. That seems like a lot to. Maybe not. I don't know how.
Maybe I'll log in next time and I'll have fucking 10,000 V-Bucks and I'll be able to buy.
Yeah, more than 10,000, dude. You'll have like.
I'll have 16,500.
11,600 or something like
that. I don't know. But now here's what I understand, right? I knew that part of my shit from that was me being a dick.
Yeah.
Like a good amount of that stuff. But at the same time, that is an extremely long list of shit to make somebody do to verify that their account is theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in any normal scenario, I think anybody would be. And here's the other thing. This the part that I didn't read. He said in the first email, after I read you that gigantic list of shit that you need to do and give the information that you need to give, he said, I know that sounds like a lot, but as you can understand, account security is our number one concern. It's like, if you said in an email that you need to do all those things, and then the fucking suffix on that is, I know this sounds like a lot, but you need to do it, then you've already set yourself up for somebody like me to be like, why the fuck do I have to do this much shit?
I would love to know what had happened there that caused them to require this laundry list, because it was just the sheer number of people and the sheer number of accounts that get hacked. It was something where, like, all right, people are figuring out
how to do like the account transfer things that you were talking about and whatnot.
They're figuring out how to do this, and it has to be something that we like, a list that could get us to be absolutely sure, because if we fuck this up, it's so many people, like probably every single day they're probably getting like bombarded with like requests from the parents that are like I wonder how many times they get a request and it's like, oh, my kid used my credit card. It's like, well, we can't give you the money back. That's not a fraudulent charge. That's you being a shitty parent.
That's the part where I totally get it. And I think
And
what
I just wonder if there was like a certain tipping point where like
oh, I'm sure.
we have to ask for this stuff because otherwise these people are getting the list we had before isn't good enough.
Well, yeah, they probably started with uh invoice invoice ID, location, your current display name, and then and then people would probably be able to come up with all of that information and impersonate that person. So then they had to be like the fucking payment card used on the account, all the rest of the accounts that are linked to anything and what those are, and then like your IP address so that they can understand the locational data instead of just relying on the one person that's talking to them.
It's like it's weird because some of that information you could go on Epic.com, the Epic website,
Yeah.
log in, and see what accounts it's linked to. You could see what credit cards are linked to there, and the 4 digits are right after it. So like, some of that stuff is completely nonsense to even need.
Right. I wasn't even thinking about it in that sense because I knew that like it felt like that's why I think it more felt like being put through the ringer because it wasn't that I felt as though the information was it wasn't as though I felt that the amount of information was ridiculous, which it is a little bit. It was more that to have to go hunting for all of this shit felt like they were just like dance monkey dance, like do all that shit that we already know about your account and that somebody else would already know about your account just so that you can prove that you're willing to go through the fucking motions of doing it.
Yeah, that could
Like
be
you
another
said,
thing.
most of that shit is available.
Yeah, they want to make sure that if it's actually your money, that like instead of making it easy on the hackers to get money
Right.
from them, like
They're just trying to make
yeah,
it right. I guess that's
make
the
it take
point. They're
longer
trying to
than
make it hard as fuck.
yeah, take longer than 2 minutes, so
Yeah.
that it
For
discourages
somebody to
some
be like, yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah, it's me. I'm burnt pickles. That's me.
Yeah, yeah. So
So I get it. I was being a dick, but it took way longer than it really needed to in order like that. The first email where I gave up like a significant amount, like you just log in. I just wrote down a couple fucking numbers off the website that I saw, and I was just like, yeah, that's it, and then handed it over. It's like that's something that anybody could do. But anyway, that's the odyssey of that. Hopefully, when we log into Fortnite at some point here, I'll be flexing on everybody because they forgot to take away all my fucking shit.
did you activate two-stage activation or
Yeah, I
authorization?
activated two-factor and I delinked all the other accounts that I had. But so that's that.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was a real blasty. So some announcements, Dylan,
Oh
that I
yeah,
want your take on.
yeah. Let me get my take off the oven. It's real hot.
So let's see. First and foremost, this was very interesting to me.
Okay.
Crash Team Racing.
The remaster. It
Mhm.
looks pretty.
Crash Team Racing.
Some people love that game, and I honestly can't remember how it feels. I had it. I remember playing
I
it.
can't remember how it feels
Like
either.
I don't remember it being like the second coming of Mario Kart because Mario Kart's always been Mario Kart and good.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
but it's still Crash characters, which is fun. I like Crash. Crash is one of my favorites actually. But that like I just don't. I guess they have the assets so they could do it, so it's cool that they're doing it. That's what I like about it. Even though it's not even Vicarious Visions.
Who's doing it?
I
Do we know?
can't remember, which is weird because I'm pretty sure Vicarious Visions originally did Crash Team Racing. So it's weird that they did the the
I'm just
Insane
quickly
trilogy?
watching the just to see if it said it in the beginning, but actually it'll probably say it at the end
Yeah,
underneath
it
the
should.
publisher notes.
But
Let's see. They put it right at the bottom usually. Oh, that's the Sony trademark stuff. Where the fuck is it? Oh, here it is. It was. Oh, come on. It puts the more videos thing. Beanox?
Beanox,
And
okay.
Activision, obviously, but
Yeah.
what the fuck is Beanox? Let's see what other shit they did.
Oh, okay. Wait, maybe it was
They're a
just
division of
Naughty Dog.
Activision. I think they own him. They own them. Oh, they've done a lot of. Oh Jesus, they've done a lot of licensed work.
Hmm.
The biggest original development games are like the B movie game, Guitar Hero Smash Hits, the Spider, like a lot of the shitty Spider-Man games, the Amazing Spider-Man games. They did Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. They're actually part of Blobs 4 for PC. They were on the PC port of that, or not port, but that version.
Yeah.
And then they've done a lot of ports too as well. So they're like a relatively small subsidiary of Activision that they never really done
Okay,
anything crazy.
no, it was Naughty Dog that did Crash Team Racing, so that's not that weird.
Um, so it does look
But
really pretty interesting.
Yeah, they got all those assets still, so yeah, why not do it? Especially
Yeah,
if
dude.
it's like $30.
Is that what they're rolling it out
I
for?
don't know how much it is, but I better not be fucking more than $30. The trilogy
Uh,
was 60 full. Was it full price? The trilogy? I can't even remember. But still, that was 3 games. You're not charging me $60 for a Mario Kart clone. It's not happening. I'm not gonna do it.
Um,
What else
what
you
was
got
the
for
next
me?
thing?
What's
I got something else for you. There is a Stranger Things 3
like
game,
16-bit game?
the 16-bit one. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't really play
not
those. I think those are phone games.
Are they?
I'm not sure if that one is,
I've
but
never really heard of them. I don't think.
I know there's a Stranger Things game on the phone, and I'm pretty sure it's like an 8-bit game. And I have no clue how it plays. I never played it, but I have seen it in the store. That's
Let's see. Next, rapid fire. Mortal Kombat 11 trailer just came out.
yeah. The trailer was cool. I like how they basically ruined the best sports and racing game at the Game Awards for for that trailer. Did you see how they announced it? So
no,
they pretended
hadn't
like they were doing the best sports and racing game award, and when the thing comes up, the card comes up, best sports and racing or whatever, Scorpion's hook like comes shooting through it and like rips it off, and they play the trailer. So that was cool.
Good for them.
It looks awfully bloody, and Mortal Kombat X is supposed to be really good. So
Mortal
they've
Kombat
only been
X I
getting-
actually bought.
they've only been
And-
getting better with like doing the Injustice stuff. People like really love the story, the way they do the story stuff in Injustice and Injustice 2.
The
So it'd be cool. To
the
see.
HUDless thing and it being like very camera oriented is very like it's a little jarring because when you see when you saw the trailer for X, which was the biggest departure from the series that ever existed.
Well, 9 was similar, wasn't it?
They still had HUD on it though,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure. But this was the first time where they're like we're stripping the HUD out, and the way that the camera is going to move basically looks like you're watching it from a movie set.
Okay,
like
so
you're the cameraman.
The trailer is very similar. Did you watch the trailer at all?
I just skipped through it just to see if they had anything in it that looked like
There's some
remotely
weird,
different. It is really just
Mortal Kombat. What more do you
X
want from
again.
that?
No, I'm just saying that if they continued on trying to innovate parts of this, I don't know if they did
Yeah, I don't know if they really show
anything very significant.
The animations were really good and disgusting, so I'm sure
fuck.
that got better.
Jesus Christ, it's
Es-
Scorpion and Raiden
yeah,
and
especially after making
oh my
Injustice, like where they can't do all their favorite things to do, like ripping
God.
bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
They got to get it,
Uh,
get out that frustration somehow.
that's an example of a game that is richly good looking. Just on a whole other level, like Uncharted look at like good looking, like
Mhm.
oh God. Um and then Smash is getting Persona DLC.
Awesome,
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate is going to get
awesome,
Joker from Persona 5 as the first of its 5 DLC character packs.
awesome,
Hmm.
awesome. I saw the
Okay.
trailer was awesome for that. Did you see that at all?
No, I'm just gonna
Okay.
cruise through it real quick right now, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it. Very artistic.
I mean, yeah, it's Persona.
Oh yeah,
That's how like their
it's a
cutscenes
very
were.
artsy game.
The
Speaking of, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the cool thing was again at the Game Awards they did like that. Uh, fucking he was talking and like they cut all the lights and like the fuzz came out on the screen and they played the trailer. If you listen to like the words like, "Oh, hey Joker, where are we going? Whose house are we stealing this time?" and like you don't really know it's a Smash Brothers trailer until he brings the card up and he flips it over and it's got the Smash logo on it.
Yeah,
So
and then you start seeing the silhouettes
yeah,
of the
and
characters.
it was nobody knew it was coming.
That's cool. I like that. That's what I like most about
He
shit
was
like that.
never a rumored character. Like there's all these like characters that are rumored, like oh Banjo Kazooie is definitely gonna be in Smash.
Right, right.
Fucking the one boss from Super Mario RPG has always been a rumored character that, especially
Right.
for a game that was like it's not on a Nintendo console at all. Persona.
Uh, uh, Super Giant Hades, from the
Uh,
creators of Bastion Empire. Um, it's like the smoothest shit I've ever seen from them, like in terms of because it's now we're sort of they're sort of scaling everything up, and it's like
yeah.
the same thing. It's a
Well, I mean,
roguelike dungeon
Transistor's
crawler,
smooth.
isometric. Yeah, this one looks smooth, almost more in a sense of it being like a comic book style one rather than the
Well,
ones that
it's
are a
like a
little bit
mix.
smoother
It's
and
like
sexier.
literally a mix of everything because it has like the art style of Pyre, the smoothness of
Right.
Transistor, the view of Bastion.
Yeah, it looks it fucking this thing certain parts of this
The only
for
thing
me,
that makes me
because I'm
nervous,
so visually driven with games, like as like this fucking thing slaps like with the visuals.
the only thing that makes me nervous about it is it's in early access, and
Mm.
like I love Super Giant. Yes, I screw this up all the time. Super Giant games is like the stories in the games, and
Yeah,
the fact that it's early access makes me a little nervous, but also it's a roguelike, so it's kind of like
right.
the story in
Yeah,
those
the
stories in
story
those
becomes
games is
maybe
kind
a little bit
it's like in the background. It's like a setup for why you're running the same shit over and over again. Like Rogue Legacy is like you're running it over and over again because you're just going through your legacy trying to
right.
defeat what's in the castle. That tells you're trying to beat the boss. These things never have like a like a robust story.
There's
So
really
I'm
no way
interested
to
to
do it
see.
cleverly.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if
They
they can
might.
do it cleverly, but also I'm nervous because it's an early access that the story's
Right.
not complete. So like, why would you put it? It's just I do want to play it though. Excited to play it. Epic Game Store.
Uh,
I believe it's a only on the Epic Game Store right now. So
um, Katy Perry is in a Final Fantasy game.
I didn't see that at all.
It was just something that came up.
Final
I'm not
Fantasy
even gonna explain it.
Final Fantasy X wasn't it? Was that
Let me.
Katy Perry?
All
That
right,
was the one
fine.
with
I'm
the
gonna
pop
have to
stars.
explain it. All right. Let's see.
The fuck was that?
It's the same game, mobile. It's a mobile, yeah. Mobile title
Okay.
Brave Exvius, and she'll be appearing as multiple playable characters from December 12th for a limited time.
Okay, now I guess I gotta get into
There's
that.
a weird video about it. She's okay. That is real weird. It's like a weird like mashup of her lot like doing vertical videos like they are the wolves video and also like Final Fantasy stuff.
Huh, I'm gonna have to look into that. Is it free to play?
Little,
All
yeah,
right. Oh, I got a big screen now. Maybe I'll check it out on my phone.
I think it is Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. It's on every store. Um, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is coming.
Switch exclusive.
Switch
That looks like it'll be
exclusive.
fun.
I fucking
Those
love those games. I like dude, if somehow Marvel versus Capcom 3, the original one, like I know they've done, did they what was the main one that they did?
Infinite. Marvel
Marvel
vs.
vs. Capcom
Capcom
Infinite.
Infinite. It was an actual absolute
I
shit show.
really would love if they just did for a tenner, if
You
they
could
just
probably
did
get
Marvel versus Capcom 3.
you can get Infinite for a tenner because it's
Yeah,
such a shit show and no
yeah.
one played it. You don't even got to get the old one. You can get the new one for a tenner, my dude.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if they were gonna pull the virtual shop or the marketplace bullshit, yeah, pop up Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I totally want to play it again. I like the tightness of it, and
I don't think
I
I'm not
love
sure if Infinite was that tight, so I don't think you would want that. Plus, no X-Men in Infinite, so
that. Wasn't no picnic either, was it? I don't, as I recall,
the what?
the X-Men and that one wasn't that great either, was it? I mean, I don't really
No, I
like
said there's no
the.
X-Men in Infinite.
Oh, I thought you were saying though the X-Men crossover one. Well, didn't they have one that was the wasn't there one that was the fuck? They've had so many of those. I can't remember what the fuck they are.
No, they were just in the game, Marvel vs. Capcom. They were just Marvel
Oh, they were in
characters.
there,
Yeah,
right?
but since
I thought they.
Marvel didn't own X-Men for the movies, they don't want to promote them. So when the new game came out, they weren't in. There was no X-Men in the game.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So they did Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3 as a standalone for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah, it came out on 4 also, I think.
Oh shit, they did.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I guess I could.
Yeah,
Maybe I
it
should
came
take a
out
look at it.
It came out digital, and it was like a GameStop exclusive for the box copy. I think it's like
Huh.
a year or two ago. I think that it was like that.
That
Just before
is
Infinite came out.
interesting. Maybe I will have to see if they have that. Actually, Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3 is that? No, it is an updated one. Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3 is a reskin. It's like a remaster.
Yeah, yeah. That's why it's called Ultimate.
Right. I didn't know that's how they named it. I thought Ultimate was going to be like a updated version of the original Marvel versus Capcom 3. But I love or no, actually it's not even 3. I just that's
You
that
probably
was
played
just
2
what
a lot because
I
2 was on the
played.
PlayStation.
I was, by the way, I was thinking of X-Men versus Street Fighter. That was where I was like, it's X-Men and somebody else. What the fuck was that one?
Okay.
But the one that I loved was Marvel versus Capcom Clash of Superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
That game
Oh, that's
was
the first
fucking
one.
awesome.
That was the first one on PlayStation, right?
Yes. I'm pretty sure it was.
So plug in your PS3, get a PS1 Classic, my dude.
Woo! Yeah. And then I guess PlayStation 2 got Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which I never played, but Jill Valentine was in that one, which is kind of cool. I didn't know that. And then Marvel vs. Capcom 3 obviously was the one that
It's on PS3.
broke the mold. Yeah. Anyway, let's see where we are at. Okay. So, Netflix is starting a new Ghost in the Shell property.
Don't care.
Ghost in the Shell SAC 2045 will be directed by the guy who did Appleseed and one of the guys from Standalone Complex. I feel good about it. Those are two guys that
be anime?
Huh?
Is it gonna be anime?
It's an anime.
All right.
I feel very good about it with having those two guys on board because Standalone Complex was pretty good.
And what do you have? What's stopping you from watching it? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Uh, so Super Meat Boy Forever
Coming out in
is
April.
releasing in April. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Toe
Looks
Jam and
cool.
Earl back in the groove.
Never a Toe Jam and Earl guy, so yeah, nothing to
Yeah,
say. Super
I
Meat Boy looks
never.
pretty cool. It looks like they added like a almost a like a punch dash in the game.
Huh.
So that's like the new mechanic.
This
Cause
is
the
looking real weird.
and it's also not pixel. It's all like 3D stuff or animated.
Well, yeah, it's very much like Parappa the Rappa, where it's like it's literally like
Wait, you
playing
talking
an
about Toe Jam and
animated.
Earl?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was talking about Super Meat Boy.
Oh,
Super Meat Boy, the new mechanic they added was like
that's
it's like a
oh
punch
okay.
dash and stuff. So there's like enemies on screen that you kind of like punch through and
Oh,
have
I
to
can.
like
Oh, I'm seeing it.
chain the punch dashes and stuff. Almost like the
Yeah.
messenger, how you get that second jump when you hit something in the air.
Yeah.
So that seems like it'd be pretty cool.
His animations physically are also like updated.
Yeah, it's not
Like
pixel.
how
It's
well,
full
right, but I
animation.
mean I'm saying like his actions you can see like much more clearly now
Hmm.
because they're using like all these different like facial animations and shit.
Yeah, looks like you play as him or the girl too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you play as both or you. I don't know if like you switch off or if you could just pick, but yeah, seems cool.
Moving out looks is obviously
Looks awesome.
it's like it looks fucking
It's
amazing as far as co-op is concerned. Unfucking real how funny some of the shit could come out of this
yeah.
and how much people
That's
will
a
be
good.
yelling at one
I was
another.
gonna say that's a good Dylan screaming at Brent game right there.
Oh, dude.
I saw that.
Although to be honest with you, this one kind of looks more of like an more of an equalizer than Overcooked was because you kind of
You
some
have
of
to
the
work
things you're sort
together.
of you're working to yeah, you're
You're
working
working more
together more
closely
often.
together, which
Yeah.
means it's more chances to yell at you because even if I mess up, it's your fault.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. You should know that by now.
Um
It's like Chariot when we were playing Chariot.
exactly. Oh god, that was horrible. Boy, that was just let's see. Desert Child, a weird cyberpunk beat 'em up racer, which I've never seen before. Oh, it's pixel. Of course it's pixel. It actually looks a little barren, kind of, but I think that's what they were going for. It kind of looks like
Say it's
it
a
kind of looks like
desert
an
in
old
the name.
Sierra Online game. It's like a side scroller it's like a side scroller hover bike game with some text elements and it looks very much like I said like a Sierra Online game.
Hmm.
Very like the pixel like flat color super pixel.
Oh, there's also that game that I sent you, that Sayonara Wild Hearts.
I so that is fucking amazing. Aesthetically we're heading in the direction of more games being closer to like I don't know, like the world that they're like the one example that I can go back to that what I actually liked as an experience was that car game that I played. Oh, what
Oh,
the
I
fuck
know.
was it
I
called?
remember the one, the future game
Where
one, right?
yeah, it was a synthwave game, but it was cool because it was actually very it was super atmospheric and it was somewhat rhythmic and um the story was wasn't really a story. It was more telling you about some ominous things happening in the world
Mm-hmm.
around you as you were driving and then it sort of gave you a little bit of like it had some really good glitch effects in it. Like you know how that video effect where it glitches and then it breaks off and the person keeps moving?
Yeah.
You know that like sort of dragged pixel effect. They do that in such a good way that it almost felt disturbing. When I was watching it, they were like you'd be driving and then they would give you no warning. They might give you like a little bit of a sting in the music, but all of a sudden the whole background would just go and get
It's
sucked out.
terror.
where
like
it
a
would
tear
just
effect.
tear the fuck across the it would tear across the whole screen, and then when it finally clarified you were somewhere else, and then you would see things in the background like do the same thing, like you'd see like this big floating cube that would just like and just like drip off. I love that's like such a cool that's such a cool thing now that people are fucking able to make games like that. That it's possible to make a really cool, maybe relatively short or maybe relatively long experience that's got that much like creative merit. Like everybody always gets all pissy about the whole indie game thing where it's like it's all 2D and fucking it's all
It's all
fucking
pixel platformers.
it's all pixel platformers and rogue like this and fucking dungeon crawler that. It's like, yeah, but at the same time though, the barrier for entry in terms of like getting into the indie game space has offered itself to be almost like a the ability for people who actually have something to say to be able to say it. And it doesn't have to be like a, you know, it doesn't have to be like one of those things where a bigger company, like you remember at E3 last year, it was like at E3 last year that I forget who it was, but they had bought like this small development house that was doing that game about that I actually really liked a lot.
Oh, it's EA.
EA
The
bought that
SOS game, right?
that
Is that what you're talking about?
that one, but also there was the one with that lady who came out and
Yeah,
she was
that's the
like,
SOS game.
that was SOS.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact. Can't remember the exact name of it.
I don't know what the name of
But
the
it was.
studio was, but that more felt to me like, you know, the studio who got out there and really wanted to make something meaningful and whatever, but then got sort of scooped up because they like a company was like, we can sort of see that you're doing something, we're going to give you the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. But then, of course, once the suits get in the room, then you fucking end up with problems sometimes. Not all the time.
Well, EA is
But
good at just letting, like,
yeah,
it makes
that
them look
admittedly,
better when
right.
it's a lot of times it's the games that they know they have to make the money on that they put their hands into and fuck up because they're like, all right, this is the game we're gonna make our money on, and how are we gonna
Right.
keep making the money on this game? Well, do this XYZ, and now you got loot boxes and everything. So
and that's where I so much appreciate like the ability for me to have a singular experience with a video game that I mean, look, I know probably not probably, it's a definite. I know definitely something like a Red Dead is going to be an insanely rewarding experience for somebody that is driven by a larger universe and a big story and
yeah, if
lots
it
of
was fun to
tasks
play,
to
maybe.
complete. Uh-oh. You controversial son of a bitch. How dare you? How dare you insult
I mean,
the greatest game of the past 20 years?
I say that while I continue to play it. So
I think that's true of a lot of those types of games, though. Doesn't it feel like that for you? Is that you sort of have an ambivalent feeling towards it, but you continue to play it? I mean,
it
I'm sure it's
depends.
happened before,
It just I
if
mean,
anything.
it has to have something that grabs me. Like I like the story is what is actually grabbing me in Red Dead. The gameplay, it feels like I just got done playing Red Dead 1 and it feels exactly like Red Dead 2. Like there's no reason that this game should feel and play like an 8-year-old video game from the
Right.
360 PS3 era. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
You spent all those years making all these animations and everything, and yet your game still feels like crap. I swear to God, I hit a tree, and like the way the horse makes me feel like the first time I played Grand Theft Auto 4. When they tried to do like the updated physics on the car, they tried to make it feel like a real car, and it felt like real floaty and everything.
Yep.
That's how the horses feel. And like when I hit the tree and it did the exact same animation as flying out of the car, I'm like, these people like they pretend that they're making these great games, and it's just like a new skin on their old engine.
Yeah.
Fix it. Fix your shit.
I agree.
You spend all this money, make it fun. You could easily make this game fun. Your
Uh,
shooting shouldn't be me just auto aim snapping to everyone's heads. I should be able to like fucking aim with the
try to
gun
get in there. Yeah.
instead of fuck just this like just auto
They
snapping.
the way you make it sound is that they kind of like picked the wrong battles when it came to what they really wanted to focus on in the
Yeah,
game and
well,
sort of ended up making mountains out of fucking molehills.
it doesn't matter though because they'll sell, which is why would you change the feel of it when GTA sold 18 billion copies or whatever? It's
Right.
like why would you change how the game feels? I just don't like the feel of it.
Right.
Which you know, I'm sure some people do like the feel of it, and that's actually my main problem with it. Is just the feel of it. Why would you?
Yeah.
And like some of the stuff they do, like goddamn Assassin's Creed solved this problem when the first one came out. Or maybe not the first one, but the second one maybe. When you're walking slowly and you're walking by a group of people, he like in Assassin's Creed they like scooch over, like go around it. It's this game when you're like walking and you don't want to bump into anybody because God forbid you get a bounty for bumping into somebody. So you're kind of walking and there's like a group of people there, and if you walk through, you're gonna get like a disturbing the peace bounty on your head for bumping into somebody. When all they had to do, like, there's an animation for everything in the game, like opening a drawer and picking a fucking canned beans out of it. And you're telling me you couldn't just make an animation to where when I'm walking through a crowd of people, you kind of like move them to the side so you could get through. The best course of action was you just plowing through them.
In their effort to make things so fucking realistic, they forgot that, wait a minute, this isn't a Western simulator. This is a fucking Western game. So let's take liberties where maybe they might fit better. Is there a possibility that we might be able to
Well, they do some
maybe
of that.
make this a little bit unrealistic for the sake of playability?
They do some of that, but they don't do enough.
I think
There's fast travel and stuff. But I've never used it, but
I
you know what really makes me mad is like the fucking like when you're walking around and someone's screaming, hey, come help me or whatever. Oh, these people are robbing me or whatever. These sound mixing when they do that is absolute trash. I think it's terrible because if I don't want to deal with it, I'll ride by and it's still like they're standing next to me screaming in my ear, help, I need help. They just
There's not even a Doppler effect. That shit's been in video games for like fucking 10 years.
Well, there is for other stuff in the game, but the stuff that they actually want you to go look at,
They just leave it in your ear like you're playing fucking Fallout.
Yeah, it sticks around a little longer so that maybe you feel like going to see. It's like, I don't want to. I don't want to go suck the venom out of your snake bite again. I just don't want to do it. Leave me alone. I don't know. That just irks me for some reason.
I get it. I'm not the, again, I mean, and we talked about it a million times, but like I'm not the target demographic for the type of game that we're talking
I say this and I'm like I've played it for about 30 hours at this point. So they're doing something right, but you could complain about things.
Yeah. Well, it's very easy with a game of its scope and scale to very easily pick out things that are shit. I mean, that's the point.
Especially when there's all this shit that's not bad. It's
look
really good.
It was very hard. Look, it's I was talking about that fucking car game. It was 5 hours long. I had the experience with it. I found it very hard to pull anything wrong out of it because it didn't last for fucking 80 hours. Like
Donut
it wasn't
County, 2.5, 3 hours long.
Oh,
perfect.
This game is a triumph. Mwah.
I love it.
Like, so I think that has to do with it too, is that I've found so much of my appeal in video games to be the less time I have to spend with this thing, the less I'm going to find that's wrong with it.
I mean, especially when the one thing that you don't like about it is a constant thing throughout the whole entire game. So when you're playing a 6-hour game it's not drilling into you. That little irk that you had with it passes because I'm done with it. But every time it shows up, you just notice it even more. It's like, here it is again.
It's like if there was a
Right
problem
on
with
cue. Help! I got a snake bite. God
if
damn
there
it.
was if there was a problem with something like Donut County, or there was a problem with this driving game I played, you would notice it, but then you would just be like, well, it's kind of fun, so I'm in the same way you do with Red Dead, but the experience doesn't last for another 70 hours. It's just you end it, and then you were like, huh, it's easier to see this with rose tinted glasses when I was able to move past, I don't know, 3 hours of maybe an inconvenient physics problem. Like, just with anything else, it's like the longer you spend with something, the more you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
Like making a song or hearing a song or anything, trying to do something a million times, you spend more time with it, you're going to be able to nitpick the fuck out of that thing. And that's a problem that I have sometimes, is not only the time commitment. Like I really love engaging stories, and I really want more than anything in a game. Like sometimes, it's probably a 50-50 for me. Something like Bulletstorm, yeah, the story is the story. They're actually making fun of the fact that it has a story most of the time.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Actually, I actually like when things are more tongue in cheek like that, where they're sort of irreverent. Doom is the same way. Like, I enjoy those games because I could play
Doom
2
is
to
funny
3
because
hours.
Doom's making fun of it, like it's kind of like tongue in cheek that there's a story, but at the same time, if you like look into like the files and
It's a
stuff,
good
there's a
story.
whole like lore of hell and everything else.
Absolutely. And that's the key, I think, is that you don't take yourself too seriously. And
But
that's
also
the
you take it
Red
super.
Dead.
Also you take it super seriously.
There's the parts where you take it serious. So you're like, okay, let's think about Doom. Like the people who are making it, they're like, let's think about Doom for a second. What was the original thing? Frenetic, fast paced action. Okay, let's take the gameplay super seriously. All right, what was the story about? Uh,
You were
you're
a
like a
space
space marine
marine who never
hellscape
died, and
person guy thing.
space marine that killed demons.
I'm sure we can expand upon it, but let's not go nuts. Let's make the core gameplay so delicious. And then, secondary to that, let's create like an awesome fleshed out story that pushes the gameplay along, but also doesn't try to get in your face. It doesn't, like, it's an action driven story. It has, kinetic elements to it. Whereas some of these other games that, again, they fall into the Final Fantasies and the Red Dead, where they go for 80 hours and they're trying to tell you this big fucking like in-universe unstructured fucking find it if you find it type of experience that everybody lauds as like, oh my god, we've reached the peak of storytelling. Well,
I mean, it's pretty good. But even Red Dead doesn't take itself seriously. One of the really like a really early mission, you go to a bar with one of your buddies named Lenny, and you end up getting drunk, and then you're looking for Lenny, and so you're walking around the bar, right? And to like talk in that game, you like hold the right trigger, and then there's like certain options you could do. So the little right trigger prompt comes up, and every time it says like Lenny, like backwards, upside down, spelled wrong or whatever, because you're drunk. So you're just yelling at Lenny, 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 looking for him. You find him, and then you drink some more, and then you try to find him again, and everybody in the bar has Lenny's face. So you're walking up to people.
all right.
You're going, Lenny.
That
Like,
part
what?
I can appreciate a lot, because that seems, at least to me in my mind, very creative. Like, that's an extremely creative way of
And
doing that.
there's other fun stuff, like this one side quest I did. You find like a 3-ring circus guy broken down, like he like sets up a circus, and he's broken down, and he's got 3 carts, and all the animals like ran away. So he's like, "Can you help me find them?" And you're like, "Whatever, sure." So you go to the first one, and you're like looking through your binoculars, and you see a donkey. He's like, "I lost a zebra, a lion, and a tiger, I think." Yes, a zebra, a lion, and a tiger. Yeah, yeah, zebra, lion, tiger. So he you lose. So you go to the first one, and he's looking at it, and it's a donkey that's spray painted with stripes on it. So you bring that back to him,
Oh,
and
that's
he
good.
goes, I think my I lost my." So you should go try to find the lion, and it's a dog with like a mane like on him. And then you find his buddy, and he's like looking for the tiger, and it's an actual tiger.
You sons of bitches.
He's like, why? He's like, that's a real tiger. Because like at this point, you take him with you, and you're expecting it just to be like a cat or something. Like you can only. He's like, well, yeah, I needed something for the grand finale.
That's good. I
So
mean, that's
there's funny stuff like that, which is why I like, which keeps you wanting to keep playing, because the story and stuff is actually good. And then there's all the other stuff that just get you. It gets you.
What the hell was I gonna say? I was thinking about well, first of all, I gotta play some fucking Call of Duty because you bought it for me, and now that shit. I mean, look, my fucking PlayStation is just sitting here in a box, and I haven't hooked it up. I gotta get this shit running. I'd actually like to play. I'd like to play some Call of Duty. I want to fucking.
Did you ever claim Yakuza like I told you to, or probably not?
I did.
Oh,
I
you
did.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually didn't look up anything about that game. Just because I mean I obviously know Yakuza the first one, but or the one that came out.
It is the first one. It's a remaster of the first one.
Oh, okay.
Kiwami.
I got it.
Yeah.
How so it's a remaster of the first one, the actual first. When did that come? When was the first Yakuza? Was that PS2?
Yes. Yeah, I think it was.
It feels like it is. I like the absurdity of these games.
Yeah.
I know is probably what you were like. Yeah, you should probably get this game.
Yeah, it's an open world beat 'em up basically.
I mean, it's an open world beat 'em up, and then you get these weird ass mini games.
Yeah, I know.
Like the karaoke shit.
I think in the Yakuza 6, there's like a full baseball team simulator in it that you could just.
There's also like when you're in the arcade, you can play literally like every game in the arcade, and it's a full version of every single game.
Yeah, it depends on what time period the game takes place, but there's certain ones. I'm pretty sure in Zero, because it takes place in the 80s, Outruns in the arcade, so you could just play Outrun. Yep. One of them has Virtual Fighter in it.
Mm-hmm. That's fucking crazy. I'd definitely be interested in playing this game. Like, 'cause I think stylistically it's pretty cool. Like, I really like their style and how like it is like pretty properly fucking insane. That's the best part about it, is it's like, whew, this is like Kojima nuts, but funny.
And it makes sense.
Right. So we've been just fucking riffing it out on new shit, new video games.
Think of all those games you won't play.
Think about all these games I won't play. I gotta ask you something.
Yo, what?
Fallout 76.
Oh boy.
So,
what do you have to ask me about?
Well, let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Hit
me with it.
I really never played Fallout.
Don't start with 76.
Well, yeah, no, never gonna do that. But first of all, I'll say this. What would be the best Fallout game to play, do you think? I know this is a very divisive issue
That's
because
an Andrew
everybody's like
question because
New Vegas forever or
I
4.
three's like the only one I actually finished, right?
Right.
And 4, I played a lot of 4 and just fell off. 4 came out around that time where I would just play a little bit of something. I changed my ways, Brent. You know this now. I finish games before. I start a couple at a time, but I finish them, and I keep buying them also. So there is that. But so I really think that you would like the story of New Vegas the best.
Because that has more of the not a post-apocalyptic, but more, what do you call it?
I don't know. I just like the environment's cool. There's like a casino
Right.
and everything, and the setup. I like the setup better. And like you get shot in the beginning, which is cool, and then you get dug up, and you're trying to figure out who shot you, why they shot you. You're just like a
Right,
postman.
right.
You were delivering something, and you get shot. So you're trying to figure all this stuff out.
Huh.
The setup for 3 was wow. You're trying to find your dad. So you get out of the
Right.
containment, the vault or whatever, and you're looking for your dad the whole time. And then the setup for 4 was when you go into like a deep freeze thing, and you wake up and you see that your you see your wife's pod getting open up, and they take your baby out and
Right.
leave your wife's pod open, so your wife ends up dying, and so you're trying to find your kid the whole time. And so yeah, just the setup of New Vegas
Is a
would
little
be
bit
fun.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could get it for like $10 sometimes on PC if you want, but at the same time,
$10 right now.
what
$10 right now.
see but at this I don't know if you saw the trailer for that new game that Obsidian is making, The Outer Wilds.
I saw it on the page where I was reading off all of this shit.
Yeah, so they're making a game with the creators of the original Fallout, and it looks a lot like Fallout New Vegas, except it's in space, and it's definitely my shit, and I really can't wait to play it. So it's going to be basically another a Fallout game, but in space, and not actually.
Oh, stylistically, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, it's in
They're
space.
doing a
It's
little
not
bit of more.
It's not a post-apocalyptic thing. It's more like a
Right. It's a little cartoony.
neo-future. Yeah, like that. Come by now, fly here, like shit like that.
Right. Huh.
So there's that coming out, but that's not till next year. So like New Vegas would last you till that came out if you were even interested in it. But you spend $10 on New Vegas and see if you actually like that style of game before you go buy this.
The style of this game is really cool in terms of its scale, like how it kind of presents the worlds.
Yeah.
They're like they're kind of very whimsical and
Yeah,
like
it's that whimsical corporation, big
I kind of
corporation thing.
dig that quite a bit. It's kind of cool. Oh, and the fucking astronaut playing the goddamn banjo. That's funny. I actually think that's pretty neat. I wonder if they got that. They might have a gameplay. Oh, they do have a gameplay demo of it, so I have to watch some of that just to see what that's all about.
It's very similar to New Vegas.
Yeah,
Like I said, you're better off spending the $10 on New Vegas. Getting a
I
feel
would.
for it,
I would
seeing
do it.
if-
I mean, just to.
seeing if you like that type of game.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing is that I know it's long. That's the thing too. Well, it's shorter a little bit. But
But you can also like the way I budget those types of like long games, because I don't have that much time either, is I'll come home if I feel like playing something. I'll hop in. I'll do a mission. I'll do
Yep.
2 missions depending on if one mission was short. Shut it off.
Yep.
And go to bed. And then when you got a time for a long chunk, then you just put a long chunk in and you'll explore some, see what's around the world. I'm not
I
when I
did.
when I play open world games, I'm not one for exploring. I'm not like like that's Andrew. Andrew will play a Fallout game for 40 hours and never not touch the main story.
Damn. That seems so weird to me.
Because there's other stuff to do. If you explore, stuff pops up.
Right.
Stories
I
are
mean, you could play it
stories
just
are
like other
told
people used to
through.
play Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah,
where you just don't do anything and just fuck around in the world.
you meet like well in Fallout. There's more people to like meet in the world to like
Right.
to get their story and everything. So,
All right.
but that's a
All
lot
right.
easier. But 76 doesn't really have that.
Uh, one game that I'm gonna have to do,
Okay.
that I have to like, and I can't fucking waver, and I can't him and fucking haw and be a dick.
Super
I
Smash
have to
Brothers.
play. Well, that yeah, but I have to play Resident Evil 2
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because I'll give you the number one reason why I have to play it, because it's not a new Resident Evil game. uh
It
because
might as well be new.
well, the way that they've fucking overhauled this thing is even better than what they did with the first one. Um it's like they said, okay, Resident Evil 7 is this way. Let's make Resident Evil 2, but like it's Resident Evil 7, which to me is the most appealing because Resident Evil 2 was the most action-oriented game of the entire franchise. Two
Not
and four.
6.
2 and 4. Oh yeah. Well, I don't even like to think about 6. I never even played it.
Straight up action game.
I meant of the original games,
Okay.
like
1
two,
through 4,
two
1 through
felt
3,
like
1,
1
2,
through
3.
4. I would say.
Oh, you'd say 4 too?
I would say 4. Yeah, I would include those in there, just because again, right? I mean, 5 and 6, they feel like sort of stains on the
I
reputation
like
of the whole.
5. I played 5 a lot. I played it
5
like
was
I
good.
beat it. I beat it twice at least. It was fun to play with someone. Like,
Oh right.
the two character stuff. That was fun. I played
I
with
mean,
Jeff all the way through actually.
I really I really enjoyed 2 because I loved coming in. I mean, I like 2 and 3, but 2 coming in from the city into the police station felt more like you were playing the movies later on. Obviously, they hadn't come out, but like more like you were playing a movie
Mm-hmm.
than it did where you were just in a house. Later, the house spiraled out into a lab, but that didn't feel like a very, and there's limitations. It didn't feel like a very big world, but what they did with PS1 for Resident Evil 2 was it definitely gave you this sense of like asylum. Like you were out in the world in the first part and you're like, oh God, what's going on? And then you sort of find your way to the police station, and then the police station starts to open up into that sort of thing. And then you come back, you're moving,
Yeah.
you're going into different
Different
areas.
locations.
Yeah, it felt like you're like in the front of the fucking police station, and then you come back out. Now you're going like around it, and then you come back in, and then now you're in the back of it, and now you're below. There's different areas of it. So to see it nostalgically fleshed out in a way, like when they did the reveal trailer and it showed the inside of the police department, I was like, oh, daddy's home. And also, like, to me, this one is scary. Like it definitely is scary, but it also is more like Resident Evil 4 in the sense that you're over the shoulder,
Yeah.
just
You
like
could
it was before, and you get to do the it's not like you're constantly filled with this fucking like sense of dread. It's like, yeah, zombies are around and I'm gonna kill them, and there's some ambience and it's really cool, and there's a lot of good cutscenes, and that's what I want out of a Resident Evil game, really, more than anything else. Is I don't like being like fucking terrified while I'm playing a game.
Boo.
Boo.
Spook me.
Well, that's why sort of I was trying to push us. Well, we didn't have time. but I was sort of trying to push us during Extra Life to put me in VR and something scary
Yeah.
just to see how I would
I was
how
looking for
it
something. I
would
don't know. I
happen.
couldn't really find it. Well, I'll have to find you something good.
It's kind of a a sparse world out there right now a little bit for some of that stuff.
It'd be
Uh,
cool if it was fun. I've been playing a lot of Beat Saber. I've been using
oh,
the VR
Dylan,
a lot lately. So
on Green Man, it's a Capcom special. I could get Resident Evil 5 for $6.
there you go. You gonna
Woo!
buy the $200 Resident Evil 2 Collector's Edition? Get yourself a big
Oh
ass
God.
Leon statue.
All right, let's take a look.
You got all that
Resident
extra.
Evil
You got all that
2
extra room.
uh deluxe. Well, it's probably not even deluxe. What the
No,
fuck is the
Collector's Edition.
collectors? Yeah. Collectors edition. The $900 Resident Evil Premium Edition, Dylan.
Oh, that comes with the jacket, doesn't it? Was that the one with the
It
jacket?
comes with a fucking Quirky Writer S keyboard
Oh,
that's
right.
styled like the goddamn typewriters from the game.
Yeah. Oh, I read somewhere that that keyboard is like a just like a skinned like $50 keyboard or something.
Yep.
There's
So adding up the cost of the collector's edition and a standard Quirky Writer S, which is the typewriter, a little back of the napkin math tells me that you're receiving roughly $475 worth of goods. So aside from the nifty gold trim applique, what else do you get for the other 425? Well, you also get all 4 rolls of the collectible washi tape known as masking tape here in the United States. The original design masking tape. For those who purchased Biohazard RE2 game software with eCapcon, we got one original random masking tape wrapped in an ink ribbon style package at the beginning. If you purchase the premium edition, we will deliver it in all 4 types of sets. So it's an ink ribbon, but the tape that's inside it is a stylized tape. One of them is a bunch of the umbrella like logos, all of their logos are the different, like the stars logo, the umbrella logo.
like you would seal a box, like an umbrella
Yes.
box with.
And then there's one that's a keep out RPD like caution tape, and then there's one that looks like the files that you pick up that have like blood stains on them, and it's in like the typewriter font. And then the last one is a bunch of like it's a cinema strip, a film strip with frames from the game. That's all those.
Wow.
You will also receive 2 in-game items called Samurai Edge Chris and Samurai Edge Jill. No pictures are available for what those are going to look like. It's in the one of the comments is it's a mechanical keyboard, and yet they failed to use keycaps that match with the game model. And making a single-use product as a special limited collection edition is just laughable as far as the tape is concerned. That is fucking ridiculous. Wow. That's the thing. Like, this should be the thing that's like fucking $300 or $400.
Hopefully Becky will have it underneath the Christmas tree for you.
Let us switch gears. Avengers Endgame. We talked about it at the beginning.
Jesus Christ.
How did how did it make you feel, Dylan?
Made me feel like I just watched a trailer with 0 scenes from the movie.
I will admit something to you.
How many of those scenes that you think do you think are actually in the movie?
I would bet you the end the end fucking Ant-Man thing is probably not the way that goes down, at least as far as how it was set up. He probably does that, but I don't think it was how they set it up with Pepper and fucking whoever else was in the room when he rang the doorbell. I can't remember.
Black Widow.
But yeah.
Scarlett Johansson.
That probably, I feel like that was maybe spliced in, like him ringing the bell was a different thing. Like maybe they were somewhere else. That felt a little disjointed.
I mean, no, the last trailer had a bunch of scenes in it, like the trailer for the first one that were never in Infinity War. So I guarantee this one's the same thing.
I mean,
That,
I will tell you
that Tony
that
Stark bit, I bet it's not even in the movie in the
that
beginning.
seems so cool, and that's really disappointing. You know what I mean? Like
I
if
don't know.
that's
It
the
just,
setup for
I
it,
guess no. I
it
actually,
seemed cool.
it would make sense that that's in the movie because he's like stranded in space at the end of the first one.
Right. I don't know. Um, I feel like we had a weird I feel like I'm lost with that franchise because there was a
How? How
there's
are you impossible, Brent? All you need to do is
not
watch
thematically.
25 movies and you're
Uh,
good. I don't understand how you could be lost.
this is
Just
it's
watch.
not it's not a it's not being lost based on plot lines or convolution. That part is a given. I feel like that's already in the cards.
Yeah,
What I'm trying to
you have to
say
watch the movies to get that
is
though. So
that
that's
is that I'm more lost in a sense of where these movies are not like the last couple Transformers. In what I mean by saying that is
I would like to know.
words. I felt as though the last couple Transformers were so fucking successful, but people hated them. It was one of those things where you couldn't particularly understand why something would be so successful domestically, but it's shit on by everybody, right? It's one of those blockbuster movies that do that. I felt as though everybody is so far up Avengers ass. And when we watched it, it made me feel like I had to have been missing something or I'm horrifically cynical. Like if I were to go back and watch it again and be like, I really want to I I really want to fucking check my bullshit at the door and really see what they're trying to do because this is like the Creed argument. Everybody hates Creed or even Nickelback, either one.
Oh, I thought you were
Creed or
talking about the
Nickelback.
movie. I was
No, no,
like,
no, not
I
the
thought
movie Creed.
everyone loved that movie.
No, no, no. Everybody loved that movie and it was a good movie. But no, I'm saying Creed, I always say this to people. When people shit on something that's like equivocal pop culture, like something that's like a universally accepted thing. Creed, like Human Clay, or no, Weather, maybe it was Weathered, one of those
Human
records.
clay.
Human Clay sold fucking like 14 million copies in the US in an era where the album was still relevant. So, what I was trying to say was that um the whole thing with universally good shit, which most people would argue that it wasn't good, but every single time I talk about something like that, it's basically like Creed sold 14 million fucking records for one of their records, and they went on to be one of the most critically panned rock and roll acts ever, and it became super fashionable for everybody to shit all over them. Same thing with Nickelback. That first record they put out, whatever, that had, How You Remind Me, and then the next one that even went even higher than that one, they were probably in that range too. Maybe even higher than that. Maybe 15 to 20 million records sold on those first couple records. And everybody is like, Nickelback is the shittiest band of all time. Creed is the shittiest band of all time. Somebody had to have liked it. Someone had to have gone out there and liked it so much in that era that they drove to a fucking store and they picked that album off the rack. So, someone clearly likes the Avengers. But what's different about this is that you have the real life audience and you have us, who, when we went into that movie, we were like, what the fuck is the big deal? What is the big deal about this? There's so much hack here. there's so much Mrs. Stock, I don't feel so good here. And it's like people started making fun of that on the internet, like the Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. But at the same time, you also heard reports of like you would see in
Were they making
articles where it
fun
was
of
like,
it?
why Avengers is the go. Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, I
The
didn't know.
fucking amount of memes where people like did the particle effect on shit
Yeah,
was of
it's just
art.
yeah. That I mean, but that just seems like a memeable thing.
Right. I guess they weren't so much making fun of it as they were using it as a format to make something funny.
Yeah.
So I get that. I think though that the universal reverence for this movie was it lost on me? Well, okay. I'll actually tie this into something else that I wanted to talk to you about, but never had the chance to. The movie by famed director, and I always do the Benedict Cumberbatch thing with his name because it's such a long fucking insane name. But
Oh, Mandy? Are you talking about Mandy?
yeah, Mandy. I was trying to say his name though, but I always come up with a different name. Beyond the Black Rainbow was the other guy, and it's his name is on the fucking tip of my tongue. Beyond the Black Rainbow. Beyond the Black Rainbow is fucking Panos Cosmatos. That is a fucking crazy name. So, here's what I'd like to tell you. I watched Mandy. I can't state this to you enough. It was easily the most spellbinding, confusing, brilliant, visually arresting, maniac fever dream I've ever seen in a film. It was so cool. It fucking knew exactly what it was at some times, and then at other times it was just like, I don't know, what is this? Like visually it's fucking amazing because the way he films things, and it's a lot of it's post-processing.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you're in another world, but you're very familiar with what it looks like. He uses a lot of red and he uses a lot of teal, and what it gives you is kind of like a Turbo Killer type of vibe, like a Turbo Killer like noir thing, but the way he
red
filmed,
instead of black and white, it's like black and red.
yeah, there's a supremely monochromatic feel to certain sections of his film, and then there's an element to it where he pulls back, and he kind of pulls it back to like a lot of film grain. Like it's very it doesn't feel like it relies too much on trying to be something like the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But it does. There's an element to it where you're familiar with it, because it does feel like the kind of film that you would see. It's very grindy. It's like a very grindhouse style film. The gratuitous violence in this film is fucking amazing. It's like it feels like Old Boy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's definitely a revenge film. It's one of the best revenge films I've ever seen inside the genre. I've seen like very limited, amounts of that. But and look, I haven't even gotten to the role of a lifetime. The role that the treasure protector himself was born to fucking play. Nick Cage in this movie, what they told him was like, look, this thing is going to go straight to video, or maybe it's limited commercial theatrical release, whatever.
Yeah, it was limited.
They understand. It's very clear by how he acts in this movie that they clearly understand that he's cut from a different cloth in terms of how actors are. He plays it as only he can do it. It's so far over the top in some sections. It feels like a little like it feels a little like sideshow, and it's a little like macabre, and he's like a little like unglued, like in some of his craziest roles like that he's ever done, like where he's like he's like out of control. There's that stuff in there, but then also in parts he doesn't come off like himself. He comes off as a more measured version of himself, like in the parts where he's not. He's just either 0 or 100, and throughout the whole film, and you're like, they just let him do whatever he wants. He just the whole thing is just whatever Panos Cosmatos was doing to direct him was either like to the letter or just fucking fly off the handle. Do something, like just do something.
Either go for it or
but the way that he pulls back is like, why is he not acting like this in like major bigger budget films? It feels like he's worked in those films, and you're like, I guess maybe it's because it's an art house film and he can it feels like the pressure was off. Does that make sense? Like it sort of is just like,
I don't have.
Yeah, man. Look, nobody's gonna fucking see this thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Do whatever you want, dude. I don't care. And like I said, I think artistically it just had so much going on. It's a very uncompromised film, and like he just had this like very distinct idea of how he wanted it to go. And there are parts in it where you're like, where did that come from? I mean, that's the only criticism I have of the movie, is where like there's like one thing in there that has to do with like the revenge part of the movie is a very pretty tried and true revenge style movie, right? That part, okay, great. That's like their platform, and then they go all over the place with the format.
That's how you get there, yeah.
But there are certain parts of it, like usually in a revenge film, like there's a weapon select. You know that trope where it's like where the protagonist has like either come across something, or like a good one is like something like an Evil Dead, where it's like the boomstick or the chainsaw or whatever it is. Like there's the signature weapon.
Yeah.
This one feels like there's a major disconnect between like the character and like how how his weapon comes about. That's part of it where I was like, that feels like you don't have much background on why this is a thing. But again,
and also, why are you making it a thing?
Right. I think they could have used a little bit more exposition to explain like maybe why he was doing what he was doing in some cases. That doesn't just extend to the weapon thing. It also extends to like some of the places he goes and some of the things he does. I think though, overall what we're talking about is a film that sort of exists in like little vignettes, and it also has a thread that sort of ties itself together. And it can be a little confusing, but I think it's more artistically confusing than it is just plot hole confusing. It's just smart, I guess. It just feels a little bit more intelligent than some of the other films of its type. And I mean, there's the John Wicks of the world, which is a fucking fantastic movie, but it's also a lot more straightforward. It makes a lot more sense. It's just very stylistically good. So getting back to what we were talking about.
That's what I was wondering.
Overall.
Where's the loop back to the Avengers on this one?
So the loop back to the Avengers is that
we went from Creed.
What I wanted to say was, me watching that film made me think like, there's an audience for this, and I'm very clearly the audience for this film. I like where he headed, and it was really great. With the Avengers, though, like something like, and this might actually help illustrate my point. Let's take a look on the old tomatoes. Let's look at the old Rotten Tomatoes. Let's just take a look because I'm curious. So let's see what Avengers let's just see what Avengers. Why isn't it pulling up the one that I want?
Infinity War.
Well, yeah, but I typed what? Okay, let me just press enter on Avengers and see. That's really weird. It's not turning up on Rotten Tomato. Infinity War.
They scrubbed it. It's scrubbed.
What the fuck? Oh, there it goes. That was weird. It wasn't showing up in the autocomplete. Okay, so the audience score is 91%, and the tomato meter has it at certified fresh at 84%. All right, let's take a look at my darling Mandy. Mandy.
Mandy. Why?
Mandy 2018, 92%. That is a very good score. So here's what the critics' consensus says. Now, I'm going to spare you one statistic and then I'll tell you after I read this.
I already know what the statistic is. The number of reviews.
No, the audience score is what I'm going to tell you in a minute. The critics' consensus, though. Mandy's gonzo violence is fueled by a gripping performance by Nicolas Cage and anchored with a palpable emotion conveyed between his volcanic outbursts. That tells you exactly what you need to know about him in that movie, is that it is a fucking roller coaster of a crazy man doing exactly what you want him to do at every single point in the fucking movie. God damn it, it's good. So, this is another word that helps me to describe it that I couldn't quite get out of my mouth. Phantasmagoric.
Okay. Sure.
Phantasmagoric.
Sure.
One of the reviewers says it's bloody, it's nasty, and it burns. Cosmatos' metal to the max revenge thriller is more than just a sum of its deranged set pieces, choice as they are. Its slow drip blend of hardcore pulp and demonic fantasy has a patience and an all-consuming conviction that simply cannot be faked. And then this one is even better. Cosmatos needs you to be charitable towards his performances, or, barring that, he needs you to be stoned. Many will oblige. Who doesn't love a crazed Cage? Fuck me. Anyway, so the audience score, 67%. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that illustrates to, because the audience score on Infinity War is 91, just under the critics score for the Rotten Tomatoes on Mandy. The audience score is higher than the tomato meter.
They don't want to see that shit. They just want to see action figures punching each other. All right, Brent?
Avengers Infinity War ably juggles a dizzying array of MCU heroes in the fight against their gravest threat yet. And the result is a thrilling, emotionally resonant blockbuster that mostly realizes its gargantuan ambitions. Does that do anything for you?
No, nothing does anything for me.
Ooh! Hot take. Beep, 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 beep. The insubstantiality of the film isn't due to the infinite yet flimsy malleability of CGI gimmickry, but instead to the dispersion of its drama throughout the many cinematic installations set in the MCU. Avengers Infinity War isn't just a gussied up mediocrity being wildly mistaken for a good movie. It's also, at least arguably, a dangerous movie for anyone who cares about the future of American cinema. I'm just reading this stuff, and like even the negative stuff, it doesn't say the things that we said. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't go to the sheer intensity by which we were like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It says like, maybe the quips and punch ups are there because they have to be. What would the film's steady parade of failure and even death? Plans fail, character fails, even sacrifices fail. It's not exactly refreshing, but it is bracing and even gratifying. That was a negative review. Now in their 19th endeavor, the Joe and Anthony Russo directed Avengers Infinity War, Marvel Studios demonstrates not with a bang, but with a whimper that they are mighty. Again, none of these things are like, what is the practical problems with the film? And why is it that I don't like it?
You'll never know.
And then, like, that sort of brings me into like the Mission Impossible thing. Mission Impossible Fallout has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. And I watched, what was the hell was the one before that one?
Ghost Protocol.
Was that Ghost Protocol?
I don't know.
Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol was 20. Endgame. Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation.
Was it Rogue Nation?
Yeah.
People have been saying these movies are fucking like above and beyond what an action movie is.
Well, people said that about Fallout.
Yeah, and they're saying the same thing about this one.
Well, I think they said they were good, but like Fallout is like, I've heard it referred to as one of the best action movies, so I don't think that.
Featuring tremendous action sequences, smart dialogue, and emotional depth, this installment is one of the best action movies of the year. I guess what it might be coming down to more is movies are existing inside of their own genre when it comes to reviewing things. And it feels as though like we've headed into a different era where people revere the action film as an art form rather than just a schlock fest. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people refer to action shit as like this, like sort of like metal is. It's like it's below all the other genres. And it's like, really though? Is it? Something like John Wick, everybody lost their shit about the Mission Impossible stuff. Like now they're starting to think action movies exist in their own artistic category.
Because they're so cheesy and bad that.
Right. Now they're not?
They're better.
You know what's? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I fucking love the Bourne Identity, and I love the Bourne films.
I mean, and making them
those
better,
were good.
Making like tchotchke trash better. Just, I guess, it's something to applaud. So, once this podcast gets a little better, we'll be kings of the world because, I mean, if that's all people want is a slight step above mediocrity, at some point we'll be able to deliver it, Brent.
Dude, we've been delivering that for as long as I can possibly remember.
Really? Above
what?
mediocrity?
Above mediocrity?
I don't think it's above.
I don't know.
Or mediocre at best. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Yeah, dude. Obviously, I can't hit you with our crowning achievement of a segment, our just above mediocre segment, because we've pretty much sat here and talked about video games and movies for the past however many longs we've been doing this.
Yo, you should go on the Switch store. There's a lot of good sales going on now.
Oh, a lot of good sales, dude.
Good sales, dude.
Use
my
Dylan's budget
creator,
gaming corner.
Use my creator code, Dylan at checkout, so I get a cut of that. Right now, you can get Celeste on sale. You already have Celeste. You can get Yoku's Island Express, the Pinball Metroidvania for $10. You can get Into the Breach for $10. Whatever.
Wait, pinball? What the hell are you saying?
Yoku's Island Express. It's
Yoku's Island Express.
Yes, it's a pinball Metroidvania.
First, you had my interest, and now you have my attention.
It's $10. Do I have your money?
Meet Yoku, the pint-sized postman protagonist of Yoku's Island Express. Pinball mechanics, platforming, and open-world exploration. Okay. I'm just going to watch myself a quick video of it, possibly. Maybe. Okay. Oh, this is very smooth looking. It's got like that camera going on. It looks very Nintendo-y. like in its like the menus and
It's
the
cheerfulness.
dialogue, yeah, and the cheerfulness in the dialogue boxes. Kind of looks like Rayman too, a lot. Like it's totally got a Rayman feel going on.
I don't know. I
Oh, so
bought
you
it.
push a ball around.
Yeah.
Oh, and you're doing the oh shit. There's some kinetic elements to it. I kind of like that. I could play up on that.
I bought it. I'll let you know how it is.
All right, yeah, let me know.
Or you could just
Um,
buy it. You might like it. Whatever. Dylan's cheap pick for the week. You know that rhymed, right?
yes.
Yeah.
It was a Game Awards nominee, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Best uh, indie debut, I think.
yeah, I'd be curious. I haven't looked at any of the stuff. So God of War won Game of the Year.
As it
How do you
should.
feel about that? Yeah, that seems right. Best ongoing game, obviously Fortnite
Fortnite.
win, yes.
As it should.
Uh, Best game direction, God of War. I
As
totally
it
agree with that.
should.
Best narrative, RDR2.
As it should.
Best art direction, Return of the Obra Dinn,
As it
which that is
should.
fucking crazy. All these other games, I mean, Octopath Traveler is one thing, but that's got Square Enix behind it. 3909 LLC wins the fucking award because their shit looks like
There's
a
one
black
dude.
and white Sierra online game.
There's
Yeah,
one
it's
dude.
one guy. This is fucking great.
It's because it
That's
actually
so
has
cool.
art direction. I'm sorry, but just because it looks realistic, that's not an art direction.
Art direction implies that you have a direction to go instead, or actually,
Yeah.
you're not regressing.
It's not looking at the table and be like, all right, let's just render that exactly how it looks. I'm sure that is artistic, but it's not like
I'm
a
so glad
crazy
that
art direction.
one. That's like the greatest thing in the whole fucking thing. Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan.
Terrible.
Best performance.
Terrible. There's no reason. Dude, I'm not even kidding you. Another problem I have with the game is if there's more than one cowboy, I can't tell when Arthur's talking. I swear to God. It is such a bland performance. Like some of the stuff is good, but the performance is so bland that if there's more than one cowboy talking to each other, I'm like, did Arthur just say that? I can't. I honestly can't tell the difference in these voices unless they have a specific accent. I think Yuri Lowenthal should have won for Spider-Man.
All right.
That's what I think.
Games for Impact Celeste.
Yep.
How does that inform you about it in your experience with the game? Like, what is it? What does that tell you about it having that impact
What do you mean?
in terms of the game? Because at its surface level, it doesn't seem to have it.
How far
But
did you
what
get
is
into it?
I didn't get very far, so that's
Exactly.
why. Right.
The
So
whole
it
thing's
starts to
about
tell you
the
something.
depression and like facing your inner demons and
I got
getting
you.
over.
I got you.
Yeah,
I love that.
that's what
I
the
love
whole
that a
game.
lot.
That's what the
Actually,
game's about. If you get
I wish I weren't
literally
so
to
pissing
like the,
hard.
the second, turn on the assist mode, dude. There's assist modes.
Okay. All right. All right. All
I
right.
just
Maybe
finished
I'll
the,
get
I
on
just
that.
finished the
And...
B sides a couple weeks ago.
There's an assist mode on it. I thought it was one of those games that's like, don't be a pussy. Oh,
No,
okay.
it's one of those games that specifically says,
If it's hard, please do it.
If it's hard, there's an assist mode, but like it even tells like if you, I know you could do it. Like it gives you like it just says like you can do it.
Affirmations.
It gives you that instead of saying don't be a pussy, it gives you affirmations that you could do it.
And it won Best Indie too. That's awesome.
I mean, it was up for Game of the Year. How would it not win Best Indie?
Yeah.
It's literally sitting next to God of War and Red Dead Redemption, and then it loses Best Indie. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Best Mobile was Florence. I had seen something about that game. It was more of because it's just a story game.
Yeah, I heard it's really good. I bought it. It's $3. I haven't gone through it. It's only like 45 minutes. I heard.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to play that then.
It's $3. It's on Android and iOS.
Okay. And then Best VR was Astrobot. I mean, I'd heard so much about that fucking game.
Game I'll probably never play.
And then Dead Cells was the winner of Best Action Game, which is fucking great too. Oh my god. Fuck. So cool. And then God of War actually, that's gonna always be in there. God of War for the adventure,
Yeah,
action adventure, best RPG, Monster Hunter World.
Not even
I could see
really an
that.
RPG.
Yeah, well, that's true
It's
too.
about as much as
Best fighting game, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Fighters.
no
Best
fighters.
family game, Overcooked 2. Yeah, jeez. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I guess.
I guess. I mean, my first inclination is like, Jesus, they're not going to give that to Super Mario Party. I mean, actually, though, in fairness, it's been the same game for the past
Yeah,
umpteen number of years. Um, Best strategy game, Into the Breach.
as it should.
Best sports racing game, Forza Horizon 4.
As it
Good for
should.
them on that. I totally agree with that. Best student game. I didn't even know that was a category.
Yeah, I got.
Combat 2018.
There's
Huh.
like they have judges from people in the game industry that like
I like the look of
Kojima.
some of these other games, though.
Kojima's on the board for it. There's some people from like EA and stuff, like a bunch of
Oh,
different
okay.
industry. I think there's like 5 people and they vote on the best student game.
Best debut indie, The Messenger. That's really cool.
I think Donut County's better.
I would have said Donut County unequivocally, just
The
because it's
Messenger's
like,
cool. The
wow.
Messenger's cool, but the second part of it's a little long in the tooth and not
The
as
Messenger
fun.
seems like it's been done to death, and then like Donut County is like, ooh,
No,
that's a little.
it hasn't really. Like there's stuff in the Messenger that's really cool, but when it turns into a Metroidvania, I feel that because I'm just spoiling it for you at this point. I don't think you really care because you probably will never finish it or get to this point. You might,
Yeah.
but it's. I'm not telling you like the story or anything, but
Right.
like halfway through, there's a certain story beat, and the world basically all the single levels that you go through, it turns into a Metroidvania. They're all turn out to be interconnected, and you're like, but I don't think that
Oh.
those levels that adds like some more areas that you can access to. But the way the levels are set up, I don't like it as a full Metroidvania map. That was just me personally.
Right.
So that part seemed a little like long and tedious
Yeah.
going through that world. Like it wasn't a fun world for me, which is the only problem I had with it. Like, all the gameplay and stuff was really fun, but I kind of wish they had done something a little different with it.
All right.
And also,
That was a very spirited.
Celeste should have won best score because Red Dead Redemption 2 just sounds like Red Dead Redemption 1 over again.
Ooh, hot take. Another one. Another hot take. Hot. Spicy takes.
Again, about 30 hours into Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yep.
I'm not trying to sit here and dunk on it.
Every fucking Resident Evil game is for sale on Green Man Gaming. Every one of them. I've never even seen some of these things, like some of the episodes for Revelations and shit. I've never even fucking played those games. Like, holy fuck. And you got Okami HD for $11. I never played that game.
All right, we're not going to talk about sales now.
All right, fine. All right, well, since we can't talk about sales, I can say this. If you want to know Dylan's fucking cheap-ass game of the week,
Yoku's Island Express, $10 on Nintendo Switch.
Yoku's Island Express. You can listen to the audio versions of this podcast available below.
It's on other stuff too.
If you wanted to.
it's
If
still
the
on
bots
sale.
are listening, please listen to the audio
It's on
versions
sale till
on
tomorrow,
SoundCloud.
so actually it won't be on sale anymore. Well, by the
Great.
time this comes out, it will be on sale. So, whoops.
Whoopsie. Well, too bad. Buy it anyway. Support the publishers and buy it for full price, you cheap
Don't be a
assholes.
scum.
That has been the fucking longest gap between a Jacket Off podcast that's ever existed.
Well, it's a 2-hour one, so. Oh, there's.
We
my
made up for lost time. It is over. The Jacket Off podcast is over. I am out.